Hey everybody, what is up? Hope you're having a wonderful day. I got a request today and yesterday, two different requests actually from two different people, and that was enough for me to make me think I should talk about that. Both of them said like, "Yo, we love the mix. Everything sounds amazing, but we think that there's this or that problem in a guitar track, and we just want to send you a new guitar track." So the one band wanted to send a new guitar track, the other band wanted to send new drum tracks for a certain part, and they were like, "Yeah, we noticed a performance issue here. We actually don't like the way we played that. We'll just send you some new tracks so you can hot swap them in, and that's it. Like no big deal." So as a revision request, basically, right? They wanted me to exchange the tracks they had originally sent and that I've used in the mix, and then they wanted to send a new set of tracks or a new guitar track or whatever. And they thought I could just import it, replace the original stuff, and send them a new version, and then we're done. And unfortunately, that's not how it works. Often, sometimes it does, but oftentimes, most of the time, not. Especially with like multi-tracked drums, because and I don't blame them, by the way. I'm not telling you this to be like, well, this guy's all just so stupid and like they should have known. No. Apparently I failed to communicate that clearly enough in our initial call, so I always take notes when something like that happens, especially when it happens two times within a couple of days. I need to make sure to communicate this better in my initial calls with artists, and like just set the expectations, because the thing is, and I wanted to share this because I thought this might help you when you collaborate with others so you don't run into the same situation. And I totally get that, why you would think that it's possible, right? You just exchange the files for new ones and you use the same settings and all, and we're good. The thing is, especially with drums, there are things happening in a mix that you might not be aware of that make this pretty difficult and time consuming, because sometimes we are baking processing into the original files. That's the one thing. So sometimes we run things through analog gear and re-record it, or we commit things, we print the files, we do some processing that's better done on the original track and not as a plugin that's always running. So there's that. And then especially with drums, even if the people who work with me booked editing, then we have to redo the editing, the quantizing or time correction or whatever it is. Same with vocals, like vocal tuning or whatever. So if that is the case, it makes it even more difficult. But even if they didn't book editing, sometimes there might be the occasional hit that's a little late or early, and I just correct things like that if I can do it on the fly. And even if if I find a mistake and the band didn't catch it, then I might do that, and I have to redo those things if you send me new files. Also, then we create MIDI for drums to trigger gates. We create key spikes for side chains and stuff like that. These are complicated things. You don't necessarily need to know what they are, but we just do things before we actually start the mix. We generate things from your original tracks so that we can use those in the mix. And it is like part of mixing, but it's also like time consuming. And we have to do all these steps again if you send us new drums. If we use drum samples to reinforce your drums, we have to do that again. If we used samples that we took out of your original performance so that they blend perfectly with your kit, then we need to make sure that this also works for the new part. And like there's all these things that we do. Sometimes we don't do them, and then it's fine. And then I'm like, yeah, sure, send me new tracks. Even then, it's like not my fault. So, but I'm happy to do it in most cases, but it's not guaranteed, because like it's my time, but it's not caused by me, the problem. But I'm happy to do it if it's just really just not a big thing. But if I have to undo things that I've already done, and if that takes me quite a while, then that is just not a mix revision, right? We can do it, but we have to have a conversation about that, of course. And sometimes I don't even do these things. Sometimes it's part of mix prep. So where Thomas, my partner here at the studio, who does the mix prep and the editing for me, and he does all the tedious work, and he makes sure that the session is perfectly set up for me and all that. And if he has to go in and fix things, or if his work was like, if like he basically, either he has to go in and fix it or I have to do it, and like it's just time consuming. You get the idea. So again, I don't blame people for thinking this, but I could easily see why this happens. I just wanted to share this because it happened twice, and it happens sometimes, not really often, but it happened twice this week. And yeah, I get it why people think this is a revision request, but it's actually not. It's not a mixed revision. It's changing the production, changing the performance. This is part of engineering and producing. And I think the main takeaway here is that when you are recording a record yourself, you have to put on your engineer or your producer hat, and you have to commit, and you have to send a final thing. You have to do a quality check, quality control. Somebody has to sign off on the thing, and you have to send it out, and what you send out is the record. And if you didn't catch something and you only notice that when it's too late, then that's just additional effort, right? But you have to view it like that. It's not this open-ended process. Like, you finish the tracking and producing production stage, and then I take over the mix. Again, if it's possible, I'm always happy to help, but like, it's best to avoid these situations from the beginning. And like, think about it with the guitar track. If you sent me a new DI, that was one of the things that happened. And obviously, I won't tell you the names of these people. Like, I don't want to throw them under the bus here because, like, again, I don't blame them. But if you sent me a DI track, for example, and I have to, and like, you want me to reamp it, it's not that I just put a plugin on it and it runs all the time. And like, sometimes I do, but most of the time is I actually reamp it. I send it out of the computer into an amp, into a cab. Like, I'm very careful with these things. Or I use an amp into an impulse response. Or I use an amp sim, but I might print it. Or I might run the amp sim signal out into a cab or into an impulse response or through analog gear or whatever. So, but I'm committing to a guitar tone. So I can't just hot swap the DI track. I have to do all the processing again, right? So anyway, I think you get the idea. This is not supposed to be a rant, or I'm not mad at all. And like, in these cases, I just clearly communicated what it's like, and we had a conversation. It's all been solved, so nobody's mad. Everybody's happy. But I have to put better things, processes in place to set expectations properly in the beginning. That's what I've learned today. Because if it happens once every year, then yeah, no big deal. But if it happens twice within a week, it's probably something I should address better. And it's one of those things where it's really common knowledge to me, but it's totally not common to people who don't record and mix all the time. So yeah. This is my lesson of today. I hope this is valuable, helpful in any way. And again, I don't want to come across as mean or like being a dick here. I just, I do whatever I can if I can do it within a reasonable amount of time. But if it takes me more time and I don't have that because I respect the time of the other artists that I'm working with and the people who I'm working with and the people around me, I just have to respect and value their time. So I can't work for free to solve problems that I didn't cause. That's the main reason for all of this. And yeah, as long as I can do that and there's a time window and it's not much effort, yeah, sure. But most of the time it's just not doable. All right. Hope that was helpful in any way, shape, or form. Talk to you tomorrow. Have a great evening, or whatever you're having right now. Bye.